My sister sent a screenshot to the wrong person. They sent it to me. For the next 10 minutes my family made fun of me. She's too dumb to realize we're taking advantage of her. Dad laughed but I didn't say anything. The next automatic payment never went through. $94,000. That's how much I calculated I'd given my family over 7 years. And I found out what they really thought of me on a Tuesday morning while I was making coffee, when my sister accidentally sent me a voice message that was meant for my brother. My name is Cecilia. And I need you to sit with that number for a second, 94,000, because that's not a rounding error. That's a mortgage. That's a college education. That's 7 years of my life quietly flowing out of my account and into a family that, behind my back, had named their group chat, Cecilia the Bank. I didn't know the chat existed until that morning. I want to tell you exactly how I found out and what I did next, because I promise you, you won't see it coming. I didn't scream. I didn't call anyone. I didn't even cry right away. What I did was open a spreadsheet. Because that's who I am. I'm a project manager. When something breaks me, I document it first and fall apart second. So, let me back up. My family, my parents Dale and Miriam, my older sister Pamela, and my younger brother Gage, had been living in a house that should have been repossessed by the bank back in 2018. The mortgage, me. Homeowner's insurance, also me. Car payments falling behind. I'd moved money over before they even finished the sentence. When Gage decided college wasn't his thing, and needed a transition period, he lived in my spare bedroom for 14 months rent-free. When Pamela's landlord raised her rent, I added $200 a month to what I was already sending home without anyone asking me to. Did they ask? Half the time no. I volunteered. And I know, that's on me. But here's what I believed. If I could help, I should help. That's just what you do for family. My family agreed with the helping part. The gratitude part they apparently found optional. I had a good job. Still do. Project manager for a construction firm in Columbus, Ohio. Organized, disciplined, decent salary. And for 7 years I told myself that as long as everyone was okay, I was okay. On a Tuesday in October, I woke up at 7 in the morning, started making coffee and felt my phone buzz. It was a screenshot from Pamela. A screenshot of a voice message thread. I opened it, still half asleep, and realized immediately it wasn't meant for me. The thread was in that group chat, the one I didn't know about. I pressed play on my dad's voice message anyway. She's never gonna say anything. That's the thing about Cecilia. She doesn't want drama. She just keeps paying. Your mother talked to her last week about the insurance renewal and she didn't even blink. She's too soft-hearted to realize we'd figure it out without her. But why would we bother, right? And then he laughed. My dad laughed. Then Gage. It's basically free money. She thinks she's keeping this family together. Let her think that. And my mother, sweet, quiet Miriam, typed below it. I feel a little bad sometimes. But she never asks, so I figure she must not mind. Do you want to know what I did? I sat down on my kitchen floor. I don't know why the floor specifically, I just needed to be lower than I was. And I read the entire thread. From the beginning. 14 months of messages. I texted Pamela one line. I think this was meant for someone else. She didn't respond for 3 hours. When she did, it was a wall of apologies and I love yous. I didn't call her back. I opened Excel. 7 years. Every payment, every transfer, every grocery run, every plane ticket. By 9 a.m. I had a number. $94,000. And here's the thing I haven't told you yet. The thing that not one person in that group chat had ever thought to ask about. Every automatic payment to that house, the mortgage, the insurance, all of it, ran through my account, on my login, with my passwords. They had no idea how any of it worked. I created a new folder on my desktop and named it October. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to call a family meeting. I wasn't going to send a long emotional text at midnight that they'd screenshot and mock in another group chat I didn't know about. I was going to stop. Quietly. Completely. And let reality do the talking for me. What happened when the first payment didn't go through? I'll tell you, and trust me, the way my family reacted told me everything I needed to know about who they really were. Drop a comment. What would you have done that morning on the kitchen floor? Because I genuinely want to know. So there I was. A spreadsheet open. A folder named October on my desktop. And $94,000 staring back at me like an answer to a question I'd never thought to ask. The first thing I did, and I want you to tell me if you would have done the same, was absolutely nothing. For 3 days I went to work, came home, cooked dinner, answered texts. Normal Cecilia. Reliable Cecilia. Cecilia the bank, still smiling, still present, still giving them zero reason to suspect that anything had shifted. Because here's what I understood about my family. They didn't think I had it in me. And honestly, for a long time they were right. I'd swallowed so much over the years that even I'd forgotten what it felt like to draw a line. But something had changed in me on that kitchen floor. Not rage, rage burns fast and makes you sloppy. What I felt was something quieter and much more dangerous. Clarity. Pamela kept texting me. "Cece, please just call me." It wasn't what it looked like. Which, and I say this with genuine affection for my sister's creativity, was an impressive thing to say about a 14-month group chat called Cecilia the Bank. What exactly did it look like, Pam? Because from where I'm sitting it looked pretty straightforward. I didn't respond. Not yet. My mom called twice. I let it go to voicemail. The first message was cheerful. She was asking if I'd seen a sale at Costco, acting like nothing had happened. The second one, 2 days later, was slightly less cheerful. Slightly more pointed. "Cecilia, the insurance company sent something to the house. I think it's a renewal notice. Can you take a look at it when you get a chance, sweetheart?" Sweetheart. I almost laughed out loud. Can you guess what I did? Go on, take a guess. Because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I called her back and finally said everything I'd been holding in for 7 years. A big emotional confrontation, tears, voices raised, the whole production. Nope. I logged into my account, pulled up the insurance policy and set the automatic renewal to manual. Meaning, it would not renew unless someone actively went in and paid it. That someone had always been me. As of that moment it was no longer me. Then I pulled up the mortgage autopay. Same thing. I didn't cancel it, not yet. I just removed the automatic scheduling. One missed cycle and that payment would be late for the first time in 6 years. I sat back in my chair and thought about how long it would take them to notice. The answer was 11 days. My dad called on a Wednesday. I almost didn't recognize the energy in his voice at first. Dale is a man who has never sounded uncertain a day in his life. Confident, a little loud, always the one with the answer in the room. But that Wednesday he called me and said, "Hey Cece, did you happen to get any kind of alert from the bank? Something about the house payment." I said, "No, why?" Pause. "It's just, your mother said there was a notice." "Probably nothing." I said. "Okay, let me know if you figure it out." And I hung up. I want you to understand something. I'm not a cruel person. Standing there holding that phone, I felt guilty for about 30 seconds. And then I thought about 43 seconds of audio, my dad laughing, "She's too soft-hearted to realize," and the guilt packed its bags and left. Gage was next. My brother texted me that Friday. Not a call, a text, because Gage has never in his adult life made a phone call he could avoid. And it said, "Hey, did something happen with the house payment? Mom's freaking out a little." I typed back, "Not sure what you mean. Is everything okay over there?" He said, "I think a payment didn't go through or something." I said, "Oh, that's weird. You guys should probably look into that." You guys. Not me. You guys. The first time I'd used those 2 words in 7 years. Now here's where it gets interesting, and I need you to stay with me here because this next part still makes me shake my head. My mother, Miriam, called the insurance company herself to sort out the renewal. Found out the automatic payment had been removed. She called me immediately, and this time her voice had a different texture to it. "Less sweetheart, more explain yourself." "Cecilia, the woman at the insurance company said the autopay was cancelled. She said the account holder removed it. That account is yours." "I know," I said. Silence. A long one. "Did you cancel it on purpose?" And here is the moment I had been waiting for. Not to yell. Not to unload 7 years of receipts and resentment. Just the truth delivered plainly, the way I'd have delivered a project status update at work. "Mom, I need to take a little break from managing the finances. I've been doing it for a while and I think it makes sense for everyone to have a better understanding of what's involved." More silence. "A break," she repeated. "Yes. Cecilia, the mortgage is due in 9 days. "I know when the mortgage is due, Mom. I've been paying it for 6 years. She hung up. And I sat there for a moment, very still, noticing that my hands weren't even shaking. That surprised me, honestly. I thought this conversation would terrify me. Instead I just felt settled. Like something that had been tilted for years had finally gone level. What I didn't know was that 40 minutes after that call my dad called Pamela. And Pamela, in a panic, did something that would change everything. He called my Aunt Roberta. No. You need to understand who Roberta is, because she matters enormously to what comes next. Roberta is my dad's older sister. She is 71 years old, she lives alone in a farmhouse outside of Dayton. She keeps 3 cats and a vegetable garden and absolutely no patience for nonsense. She and my father have what I describe as a functional hostility. They love each other the way siblings do when they've been through hard things together and also deeply annoy each other. He has known me since I was born. Roberta called me that same evening. "Cecilia," she said, skipping hello entirely, "your sister just called me in a full panic saying you've lost your mind and cancelled all the house payments." I paused them, I said. A long pause. "Why?" I told her. Not everything, not the spreadsheet, not the 94,000. Just the voice message. Just 43 seconds of my dad laughing. Just, she's too soft-hearted to realize. Roberta was quiet for so long I thought the call had dropped. Then she said, "Your father has always been an idiot about the people who love him most." And something about hearing that, from her in that voice, broke the dam a little. I cried for the first time since the kitchen floor. Not loud. Just the kind of crying that happens when someone finally says the thing you've been too loyal to let yourself think. "What are you going to do?" she asked. I told her about the folder. The spreadsheet. The plan to let them sit with the reality of what it actually took to keep that house running. Not as punishment exactly, but as information. Because they genuinely did not know. They'd decided I didn't mind. They'd never once asked. Roberta said, "Good. Don't move a muscle. Let them figure out what a mortgage looks like without you." Then she paused and added, "And Cecilia, send me the spreadsheet." I didn't ask why. I just sent it. What Roberta did with it I would only find out later. And when I did, when I found out what she said to my father, what she put in front of him, what made Dale go completely silent for the first time in my memory, I understood that sometimes the most powerful thing in a family dispute isn't a confrontation. It's a 71-year-old woman with a spreadsheet and absolutely nothing left to lose. So, Aunt Roberta had the spreadsheet. I didn't ask questions. I just waited. 4 days later my dad called me. Not a panicked call, a quiet one. That scared me more than anything, honestly. "Dale doesn't do quiet." "Cecilia," he said. "Can we talk?" I said yes. We met at a diner halfway between Columbus and their house. Neutral ground, my idea. And he walked in looking like a man who hadn't slept well in several days. Good. I don't say that to be mean. I say it because for 6 years I hadn't slept well either, moving money around, double-checking autopays, quietly covering the gaps so nobody had to worry. It was his turn to worry for a few days. He sat down. Ordered coffee. Looked at his hands. "Roberta showed me the spreadsheet," he said. I nodded. $94,000, Cecilia. "I know, Dad. I made it." He was quiet for a long moment. And then he said something I genuinely did not expect. Not an excuse. Not a justification. Just, I didn't know it was that much. I told myself it wasn't that much. And there was. That tiny, painful human admission. He hadn't wanted to know. So he'd decided not to know. And when you decide not to know something, it's very easy to laugh about it in a group chat. Do I forgive him for that? Honestly, I'm still working on it. But it mattered that he said it. Pamela called me the next day. Full apology, no qualifiers, she cried. I didn't. She's my sister and I love her, but that group chat had 14 months of messages in it and love doesn't make that disappear overnight. I told her I needed time. She said okay. That was the most mature conversation we'd had in years. Gage texted me a 3-word apology. "I'm really sorry." Which for Gage is practically a novel. I'm choosing to take it as a start. My mother was the hardest. Not because she was the cruelest, she wasn't. She was the one who said she felt a little bad sometimes. But a little bad isn't the same as stopping. She came to Columbus 2 weeks later, sat in my kitchen. The same kitchen where I'd listened to that voice message on the floor, and she cried for a long time. She said she'd let herself believe I didn't mind because believing it was easier than feeling guilty. And that's so honest it almost made me angrier. Almost. What I told her was this: "Mom, I never needed a thank you every time. I just needed to never find out you were laughing." She nodded. She didn't have an answer for that. Neither do I really. Here's where things stand now. The mortgage, I set it back up. Not because I was pressured to, but because I chose to, and that distinction matters enormously to me. I chose it this time. With full knowledge of who knew and who was grateful and who still had some growing to do. The group chat. Deleted. My dad told me himself. Whether a new one exists somewhere I honestly don't know, and I've decided I don't need to. The folder named October is still on my desktop. I'll probably delete it someday. Not yet. And Roberta? She called me last Sunday. Told me the garden is doing well, the cats are a nuisance, and that I should come visit before winter. I told her I would. I meant it. If this story hit you somewhere real, give it a like. It helps more than you know. And if something didn't sit right with you, tell me that too. I can take it. See you next time.